There's so much makeup and skincare nowadays on the market. It's very oversaturated. So whenever people empty their makeup or skincare, I'm always quite impressed because there is just so much and it's very difficult to dedicate a certain amount of time to a product. So empties are one of my favorite videos to do, and today I wanted to show you my empties. So if you want to see what kind of products I emptied and if I would repurchase them, yes or not, keep on watching. I have a lot to talk about. I have a couple of these. This is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Sky High Mascara, and I have the normal one and I have two of the waterproof ones. This mascara, obviously, because I have already repurchased it 4 times. The thing that I love about this mascara is especially, well, the formula obviously, but what I love most about this mascara is the shape of the brush. It's very straight and it tapers from small to slightly bigger towards the end. It's very easy to get into these little nooks and really grab onto all of the lashes. Because of it, there's hardly any smudging on my eyelids, a very nice separation and a lot of length. It doesn't necessarily give the most amount of volume. Will I repurchase this product? Probably yes. I mean, look at this. Mascara, unfortunately, that did disappoint me a little bit is the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. The Lash Princess line from Essence is very popular and I have tried a lot of them. Unfortunately, I don't really like this one. The shape of the brush, again, is very crucial when it comes to mascara, and mascara is very individually a preference. So it's not necessarily the best for my eye shape, the best for my lashes. I got spider lashes with this one very, very quickly. Unfortunately, this one didn't really work for me, so I also will not repurchase it in the future. Next up, I want to talk about the NYX Buttermelt Glaze Soft Glow Skin Tint. So this is a glowy skin tint with sun protection, so it has SPF 30 inside it. Make sure you apply SPF separately because you don't know how much SPF is actually in a product. I really like skin tints, and what I really like about skin tints is that they like even out my complexion and usually have like a very hydrating natural skin finish. Unfortunately, this one again didn't really work for me. I have completely used it up, but it's not my favorite one. I am someone, I have quite a bit of redness, and I think the combination of like the shade being a little bit too peachy pink for me, combined with the fact that the coverage wasn't really my preference either, a little bit uneven and a little bit on the lighter coverage side. I just felt like this wasn't really working for my skin tone, my skin complexion, the underlying issues, which is like that redness. It wasn't really evening it out completely, and I also found that like my redness was still visible, which is something that I do like to even out. Other things that I didn't necessarily enjoy about this is that I did find it a little bit greasy. The longer I wore it, especially at first, I didn't really notice it in the first couple of hours, but after a while I felt like my skin was looking really, really oily, and I have dry skin, so that doesn't happen that frequently, especially in like the center of my face, my cheeks and my chin. It just felt like too much, and I think that's kind of because of the SPF in this product just not working with my skin complexion and like my skin type. It also didn't really last that long, so the longevity was also not the best for this product. So yeah, it's nice but nothing special, and I think it just didn't really mesh with my skin type and what I actually need as well. Something that I will repurchase is the Wet n Wild Niacinamide Skin Tint. Oh my god, I need more people to talk about this. This is actually empty even though it doesn't look like it, but like there's nothing. You see that? Okay, maybe a couple of drops, but like nothing is coming out. This is incredibly lightweight, had a good amount of coverage. I would even say it's more like a light coverage foundation than it actually is a skin tint. It has a natural and skin-like finish. It didn't grip to any of the texture on my skin, didn't grip to any of the dry patches on my skin. Had a really nice longevity as well. I was always so surprised whenever I wore this how well it actually lasted on my skin, and I will absolutely repurchase this in the future if I have like tried some other stuff that I really like. Next up is a affordable primer from the drugstore that I have completely emptied. This is the Essence Bouncy Plump Smoothing Primer, Hydrating and Plumping. So it has an interesting texture. It's almost like a silicone, but a little bit more cloud-like, a little bit like puttyish. This really just dries down and gives a very cooling and hydrated effect to the skin. I am not the biggest fan of primers, but I did find, especially during the summertime, that I really needed a barrier between my skincare and my makeup. The makeup that you put on top, it grips on very well. It's also quite smooth. It doesn't disrupt my makeup or my skincare. It doesn't pill. It doesn't create those little balls. And if you're wondering if I would repurchase this, the answer is absolutely yes. And I already have it. I did repurchase it. This is the one, so it looks pinky as well. Something that I quickly am going to talk about is my Essence Fix It Like a Pro Transparent Brow Gel. This is a staple in my makeup routine. It's €2.99, I believe. This is such an affordable find from the drugstore when it comes to a very good strong brow gel. Just amazing, long wearing. I will never go back. A primer that I did not like is the Catrice Skin Glaze Hydrating Serum Primer. Did not find it hydrating. I did not find it serum-like. It doesn't have that like milky, moisturizing texture, consistency. Didn't really do much for my skin, honestly. And there was shimmer inside of this, which left like a very weird shimmeriness on my skin, which I also did not like. I did obviously empty it, but I will not be repurchasing this because I prefer my Essence primer a lot more to this one. Then I also have a empty concealer, and this is so beautiful. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. The Gap Fenty Beauty We Are Even Hydrating and Longwear Concealer, which those two together did not work for me, obviously, because I was not the biggest fan of this concealer. First of all, this shade was a little bit too light, which makes it a little bit more noticeable when it comes to like dry patches, fine lines, and all of that stuff, because it wasn't my shade match. Formula itself was a little bit too drying for me as well. That hydrating aspect, it wasn't the creamy hydrating texture that I long for and I really love with other products. Not my favorite, and I will not be repurchasing this one. My legs are hurting. Two lip products that I want to talk about, actually excuse me. Two lip products that I want to talk about and that I emptied is the Catrice Max It Up Lip Booster Extreme in the shade, I think, Holo Plumper. This is something that I actually really quite like, and I do have another shade of this one. This is Icy Plumper and this was Holo Plumper. So this was like a green pinkish one and this is like with a blue shift. I do not find that this really plumps my lips or it makes them bigger. It has that slightly like tinkly feeling on your lips when you apply it, and that very peppermint scent and taste. Fortunately, when it gets into your mouth, it's very pepperminty. Not the biggest fan of that. What I do like is the fact that it's a nice gloss with like some sparkle, and the shift that it has is really nice. And I also really like the texture and the finish of this gloss, like silky and weightless and comfortable and slightly hydrating on the lips as well. So I do really like this one, and I do have another shade that I'm going to empty. The other one is actually a lip oil that is not a lip oil in my opinion, and I also did not like this one. This is the Essence Hydra Kiss Lip Oil, and there's no shade. I got rid of the shade, I'm sorry. I love a thick gloss, but I don't necessarily like this one. It was a little bit uncomfortably thick. It's not a lip oil, by the way, not in the slightest. So not the biggest fan of this. There are other glosses that I do prefer, but it was nice while I had it, and if you want like a very glassy look, this was really good. Next up, I have blush, a cream blush. I'm so excited about this. This was part of my project pen that I actually never finished. This is the Essence Baby Got blush in the shade Peaches and Cream. And this was really stunning. As you can see, completely empty. There's still some in the thing, but I'm not gonna, like, this is empty for me. This is done, this is over. It's a lovely shade, but I do have a lot of blushes, so I will not be repurchasing this. I do have to say that I have two other blushes from the Baby Got blush line, which are these two right here. So obviously I do really like the formula. It's a cream with pigmentation and almost like a satin finish. There's a little bit of a natural shine going on, but not too much. And I think because of that, because it's not overly dewy and sheer, it does last a very long time and it fades very slowly on your skin. So yeah, great longevity, minimal fading throughout the day, and overall I really do like the packaging as well. Finally, for the makeup bit, I have the Catrice Plumping Lip Liner, and I think if I recall correctly, this is in the shade 69 Manhattan, which is one of their more popular shades. This is a beautiful lip liner. It was like a slightly neutral pinky brown. Obviously, I cannot show that to you anymore because it's empty. A little bit waxy, but also matte, almost like a crayon, but like in a very thin shape. For a classic lip liner technique, this was amazing, and it dried down very fast as well, but it was a little bit difficult to like blend out any harsh lines. So those were all of the makeup empties. Now I'm gonna move on to my skincare empties. I took a quick break because it's like 34 degrees Celsius outside, and I'm gonna start with a few cleanser products. This is the Inculist Hydrating Cream to Milk Cleanser. This is, I can already tell you, I have in fact repurchased this one. Really nice, very gentle cleanser for dry skin. I usually use this as a second cleanse in my routine. So first I use an oil-based cleanser. The reason I do that is because this is not necessarily the best at taking off a heavy duty amount of makeup, but when I'm doing like my everyday makeup routine, this is definitely something that just is very gentle and takes off all the makeup. It doesn't strip my skin and leave it dry. It's almost like it is a very gentle moisturizer that at the same time like removes your makeup, and it also completely washes off, which is something that I struggle with when it comes to finding a good cleanser. It's wonderful, and I have repurchased this one, so yeah, I love this stuff. When it comes to oily cleansers, I have two that I want to talk about. So the first one is the Anua Heartleaf Pore Control Cleansing Oil. Now, I don't necessarily need a lot of pore control. This is obviously an oily cleanser. This is something that I use in the first step of my makeup routine to really get the majority of my makeup off my skin and really just cleanse it thoroughly. I will go back to this one. It has a little bit of a scent, but it's very faint. It's very good for dry skin. It's very good for sensitive skin. This does not break me out even though it's an oil, because I found that sometimes oils tend to break me out a little bit more quickly. And what I also really appreciate with this one is that first of all, it gets rid of like very waterproof makeup, which is something that I struggle with when it comes to oily cleansers, even getting rid of waterproof mascara. And also what I appreciate about this one is like sometimes when you use a cleanser, your eyes go like a little bit blurry in vision, and there's like almost like this slight layer on top of it, white fogginess. And a lot of cleansers give me that issue, but this is one that actually has a very slight fogginess, just a slightest bit, but not too much, and definitely not as much as others, hardly any fogginess, and after like 10 seconds it's gone. The other cleansing oil that I have is the Centella Cleansing Oil from Erborian. Compared to the Anua, not necessarily my favorite of the two. I think the reason that I did not like this as much is because the formula is a little bit thinner, so I did find that I almost had to use a little bit more. This is like a thin oil, this is like a slightly thicker oil, so this one felt a little bit less creamy as well, and I don't know, there was just something about it when I was rubbing this into my skin that felt very thin and almost like it was disappearing at the same time. And it also left a little bit of a film after washing this off. I could still kind of feel the oiliness on my skin. So now I'm going to talk about sunscreen. Now this is a sunscreen that I have repurchased a couple of times over again, but I only have one item in my empties right now because I did trash the other ones. This is the Skin 1004 Hyaluronic Water Fit Sun Serum with SPF 50+. This is one of my favorite sunscreens, to be honest. It is so beautiful. It's not greasy. It's very lightweight, sinks into the skin, doesn't make my skin look very oily, works well with a lot of makeup, which is very important if you're using sunscreen. A lot of the time some makeup will not cooperate. A lot of the times some of the makeup will not cooperate. Oh my gosh, that's a difficult word. The second time that I had to repeat that sentence. Cooperate with sunscreen, and I found that this is one that actually works really well with makeup on top of it, especially with the primer as like a barrier. It also does not sting my eyes, it does not break me out, which is another thing with sunscreens that is very important to me. White casting, it is very difficult for me to actually have an opinion about this because a lot of sunscreens that I use do not have a white cast, and they just kind of blend into my skin because my skin is not that pigmented. From what I can tell, this blends into my skin very quickly and without any kind of film on top. And this is also a really nice one because the consistency is a little bit thicker but not necessarily greasy or heavy. So it's great in the summertime and in the winter time. So yeah, this is my favorite and I will definitely repurchase this one again. Another product before I move on to another sunscreen is the Axis White Dark Spot Correcting Glow Serum. This is actually, again, one that I have already repurchased and is in my everyday skincare routine. I don't use this every day, but it's like in my skincare routine. It's a little bit difficult for me to track the progress on this product and say like, yes, my marks have completely faded, the dark spots on my face have completely faded. I find it a little bit difficult to comment on that because I also don't like pseudoscience, you know what I mean? The only thing that I can say is what I've noticed while I've been using this product for quite a long time now is that I do feel like it works really well with giving that extra layer of moisture and hydration to my skin. I can say that whenever I use this and I wake up in the morning, I feel like my skin does look a little bit brighter. I do feel like it evens out my skin tone a little bit. I do feel like it helps with the underlying dehydration issues. I do feel like it helps with my redness as well. It really feels quite replenishing, so I'm a big fan of this product, I have to say. Then the other sunscreen that I was talking about, as you can see, skinny motherfucker. This is the Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun Rice and Probiotics sunscreen. This is a sunscreen that I really like to use during the winter time because it is very hydrating. It is very glowy, it's very dewy, and during the winter time I do need that a little bit more because I'm not like sweating as much as I am during the summer. I have to say, as much as I like this sunscreen, it doesn't really work well with a lot of the makeup that I use. I don't know exactly what the chemistry is behind this one. But it is also very good for sensitive skin, and this does not break me out either. So yeah, it's a good sunscreen, but definitely one that is very good for like fall and winter time and not as much as the summer. Then I want to talk about two products. Final skincare products that I want to talk about are actually like cleansing balms, cleansing type of products, but I have to say something before I continue. I will probably not repurchase any kind of like cleansing balms anymore, just because I found that an oily cleanser first and then a hydrating milky cleanser second is something that works really, really well for my skin and even better than these type of balms. So yeah, these are the last two ones maybe that you're ever going to see. The first one is the Arencia Fresh Green Rice Mochi Cleanser. Yeah, this is not my favorite product. You get 120 grams of product. I think that's a lot of product, but you know, I did not like the texture of it. The texture of it is very like almost elastic, glutinous, mushy stuff. It's a very thick formula and it felt almost more like a face mask than it was actually like a cleanser. It felt like something that you had to apply on your skin for a couple of minutes and then like do your stuff with it. I felt like it also unfortunately did not work that well to remove the makeup that I actually had on my skin. I felt like I had to wash this off again for a very long time before everything actually came off. Just a little bit of a disappointment, but it is empty. So the other one is the Dr. Althea Pure Grinding Cleansing Balm. It removed my makeup quite nicely and the texture was balmy and very thin. I did feel like I had to use a lot of this balm to actually get most of my makeup off my face. I don't know if that's because the texture was quite thin and like not balmy and oily enough and it didn't like transfer to a cleanser enough, you know what I mean? Like it didn't like grip on and melt together with the makeup to like wash off my face. What I did notice is that I had hardly any fogginess with this product, which was very nice because it's one of the most frustrating things to wash off your makeup and then open your eyes and it's like I can hardly see anything. Then I have the final product, which is a perfume. This is the Replica Coffee Break perfume, and I think this is the 30 ml or the 100 ml version. This is actually one of my favorite scents and my boyfriend actually wore it for a very long time as well. It's very earthy and woody and like coffee beans, but not the bitterness of coffee. And it had like a very slight hint of lemony citrus in it. And it smells very luxurious, I have to say. So this is definitely something that I will maybe in the future purchase again, because if you wear a scent for a long time, it also just smells a little bit nostalgic. So now I'm smelling it, I'm like, oh yeah, those days. We got there in the end. Yes. Yeah, so this is my basket full of my empties. Those are all of the empties that I have from the past couple of months. I really enjoy doing these videos, so I hope you enjoyed them as well. And please let me know down below what other videos you want to see, and especially if you have like empties yourself, what is like one product that you keep on repurchasing, because I'm interested. I'm very interested. Please let me know. I see that my camera is about to overheat, so thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in my next one. Bye! Now I have to get these thumbnail pictures as quickly as possible.